copy of the agenda. Are there any left? No? Okay. Oh, there was one.
Such a special guest.
Oh, here's one. Here, Rob.
I got it, yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's got it. Oh, he's got it. All right, we have one extra. This, before we start the meeting, I'll just continue with my handing out stuff. This is a new copy of the Shandaken Alerts flyer. It's been revised, so if you have one of these at home, and everybody should, then pick up a new one. This has all the details about the town that you need to know, and the numbers, and where to call, and when to come to the meeting, and all that kind of stuff. And it also has information about the alert system, which is an important benefit of the town of Shandaken. Okay. So, well, yes. All right, I think I'm ready to start. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I ask our guests just to introduce themselves first?
My name's Chris. I live in Trevor Hollow, and right down behind the IGA across the hill. We've been there for about 10 years, full-time 5 years. Kids go to Ontiora, and I go back and forth to the city for work, so I'm not often here during the week. But I saw this meeting pop up, and I was like, I want to come check it out. I'm in climate and sustainability for my job, so I
Oh, fantastic!
see what you guys are doing. So that's it. I'm here just
Do you live in the Shandaken, Trevor Hollow?
Shandaken. There are three
Yay,
houses.
yay,
There
I
are
know.
3 houses. We're at the very end.
I have to talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
It's a favorite place of mine. I have a good story about it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Chris and what? Clark? Clark and Chris. Thank you.
Michelle Spark. I've lived in Shandaken, Phoenicia's for 35 years, and I'm on the Democratic Committee, and I don't do anything else.
Thank you. You're an artist, yeah.
My name's Barbara Mansfield, and I make Phoenicia soap. I live in Phoenicia, and I'm on the Phoenicia Water Committee. I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee, and yeah, I am also running for supervisor.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and for your interest in the committee. Now, we do have a guest speaker tonight. The eminent Simon Strauss from the town of Olive. And so I think we'll just skip to you because you may not want to stay for the whole meeting, but you want to introduce yourself and
I will do that, and I will also invite Chris and Clark, since you live, presumably you have to drive through Olive to get from Shandaken back to Shandaken. You'll be more than welcome to come and join the Conservation Advisory Council meetings that we have in Olive. In fact, our next one is this coming Wednesday, if you're not in the city. I'm the former chair currently on the Conservation Advisory Council for the town of Olive. I'm also a board member of a non-profit based in Kingston called the Mid-Hudson Energy Transition. Are we moving to do other things, or do you want me to just continue talking about CCA and community solar?
well, I mean, eventually we have to get to these business items, but why don't you continue?
Okay.
Thank you.
In fact, I've been here before to talk about community choice aggregation, or CCA, which is a creature of regulation that was started in Massachusetts about 15 years or so ago. Spread to California, where it is wildly successful. Something like 2/3 of the population of California are in a CCA of one form or another. So
2/3.
it's taken off hugely in California. It started in New York about a dozen years ago. The starting point in New York was an organization, not-for-profit in New York called Sustainable Westchester. And they managed to accumulate, I think, 38 of the 57 municipalities in Westchester signed up to be part of the Sustainable Westchester CCA. So they have something like 330,000, I think, member accounts in Westchester, and it's by far the biggest and the most successful in New York. It was originally run by a for-profit organization called Joule, as in Energy Joule, Joule assets. And then Sustainable Westchester took over as a non-profit to run once they got started and up and running. Joule does run a number of other CCA communities around the state, including Hudson Valley Community Power, which is in Central Hudson's service territory. Now, one thing to think about for CCAs is you can only buy power within the service territory of the utility in which you are. So you happen to be in NYSEG service territory, which is right next door to Central Hudson service territory on the Boyceville, I guess, Mount Dremper line. And we'll talk about that when it comes to community solar as well, because you have the same restriction in that you have to buy power from within this same utility service territory. So a CCA administrator is appointed by the municipality. It is a municipal-driven regulation. The municipality says, we would like to become a community choice aggregation. And what that means is the municipality decides who is going to supply the energy portion of your electric bill. So on your electric bill from NYSEG, you've got two portions: the delivery portion, which is the wires that bring you the electricity, and then you've got the electrons themselves, the electric supply, and you can buy that electric supply from the utility, who will sell it to you, and they can only sell it to you at their cost, or you can buy it from an energy services company, so-called ESCO. And you can choose hundreds of ESCOs from all over the country, because the energy supply can come from anywhere. The delivery is provided to you by the utility in whose service territory you sit. So what the community choice aggregation does is it aggregates the buying power of your municipality, and in Westchester's case, or Hudson Valley Community Power's case, it aggregates the many different municipalities together, so you get more buying power. And the idea is that you can then go to an energy services company and say, we're buying for 30,000 or 300,000 customers, how much will you sell us energy for? And the way that the Public Service Commission, which is the New York entity that regulates CCAs, says you must go out and get bids. You have to tell your community all about what you're doing. You have to send out postcards, you have to set up a website, you have to have meetings, and explain to your residents what's going on. Because once you, the municipality, decide that you're going to move forward with a CCA, everyone is in unless they opt out. So they're automatically in the CCA unless they say, no, I don't want to be in it. There are a couple of cases. Low-income folks who are in a HEAP program are not allowed to join a CCA. And if you already have an energy service company that you chose, you won't automatically be opted into the CCA. But generally, usually 80 to 90% of folks get opted into the CCA because the municipality makes the choice on their behalf and they don't say no. So it's an effective tool. The issue is that the Public Service Commission has been more and more regulating these CCAs because there's a perception that people are being railroaded into doing something that maybe they don't want to do or they didn't realize they were doing. And so the Public Service Commission now requires that when you go out and get bids, the price that you get from the energy services company has to be within 5% of the price, or less than, but certainly no more than 105% of the average price that the utility charged for energy supply over the last year. And if you buy green energy, because the price of renewable energy credits in New York State is so high, you're generally going to be paying several cents more per kilowatt hour than if you buy what the utility sells you, which is usually 85% brown energy, gas, Could be a little bit of coal, but usually natural gas, maybe some oil. So it's very difficult for CCAs to find comparable priced green energy. And many municipalities have got a climate action plan that says we want 100% renewable energy. The city of Kingston's a good example. But it's very difficult to find 100% renewable energy at a price that people want to pay, which is why CCAs are having a very hard time getting municipalities to sign up, because no municipality wants to tell their citizens, their residents, guess what? We found you a great deal. It's only going to cost you 3 cents a kilowatt hour more than you're paying already. So it's become very difficult, and the Hudson Valley Community Power, I think, recently had to turn all of its participants in its CCA back to the utility because it couldn't get price that was within 105% for the standard offer, and no municipality wanted to take up the all-green offer because it was so expensive. So CCA has become very difficult. In Kingston, which is where Mid-Hudson Energy Transition is focusing its efforts, we have told the city that we don't think at the moment it makes sense to go ahead because no one, as I said, wants to tell their citizens, their residents, that this is a sensible thing to do when it's going to cost you a lot more money. And so we're looking at other forms of how can we help green the energy supply in ways that aren't as expensive for the residents. And one of those possibilities is if you see the initials CDG, that stands for Community Distributed Generation. And that's colloquially known as community solar, but it could also be community hydro, or it could be community wind. But the initials that people use are CDG, but they talk about it around here as community solar because we're not in a good wind area. And there is a little bit of community hydro around. I think the town of Woodstock has got some folks on community hydro. There isn't a lot of community hydro, but there is a lot of community solar. And the advantage to everyone of community solar is that you get a discount off your energy bill, which is typically 10%. So if you're paying $100 a month and you subscribe to a community solar array through one of the marketing companies that do this, they will promise you 10% off your bill. In low-income areas, like in Kingston, we've been able to get marketing companies to offer low-income residents 20% off your bill because the NYSERDA, which is the New York State agency that helps people develop solar projects and other renewable energy projects, provides incentives for solar developers who particularly focus on low-income families and gives them extra incentives over and above the incentives that are available to regular, you or most of us, the sort of regular taxpayers as we were. So community solar, the issue is that, as I was talking to Maya earlier, you can subscribe to a community solar array, and then you find that, guess what, you're not getting any credits, and that's because the marketing company has signed you up to an array that hasn't been built yet, and it takes quite a while to get all of their permits and the land leases and the interconnection with the utility and everything else to build a solar array. And then once it's up and going, it takes some time for the credits to start flowing through. And so they sign you up, but that's because they want to fill up the array before it even gets going. Because if you're not paying through your electric bill to finance this array, they're not getting paid. So they want to get everyone signed up before they get the array up and running. Ulster County had a community solar campaign, and did it include Shandaken? It was back in 2021. So,
Well, what was his name? The guy who came from Ulster County and talked to us about Solarize Ulster?
was it Nick Foster?
No.
No.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Nick was the head of the Department of the Environment at the time.
He came
Foster.
and spoke, and Catherine signed up, I think, at that time.
Michael
Michael
Darcy.
Darcy.
Michael Darcy, right?
Michael
yes, I know
Darcy,
Michael.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, in the town of Olive back in 2021, Ulster County had identified 3 providers, Power Market and Solstice were 2 of them, I think the third one is no longer doing community solar. And we had most success with Solstice, mainly because Solstice would give the resident a $50 sign-up bonus, and they would give the town another $50. So we got several dozen folks to sign up, and so the town got a bit of money towards green projects. The county hasn't done a community solar campaign since, but several of the towns that are out there are doing community solar campaigns, and Power Market is coordinating with Mid-Hudson Energy Transition in Kingston for an ongoing community solar campaign. There's a 20% discount to low-income households and a 10% discount to other households. And most of the marketing companies, Power Market, Solstice are two of the good ones, but there are plenty others, Nexamp, Ampion, there's lots and lots of them out there. And Central Hudson on their website, and I suspect NYSEG on their website as well, has a community solar section that you can sign up through the utility, and you should get a 10% discount off your bill. And there's no reason not to do it. Everyone should do it because there's no downside and there's no cost. And you might get an upfront payment as well as a 10% discount over time on your bill. So absolutely, the only time you can't do it is if you have solar on your roof like I do. For that account, you can't sign up for community solar. And that was one of the restrictions that the Public Service Commission put in place.
Did CCAs and ESCOs light a fire, pun intended, under the butts of the utility companies to be competitive with their pricing at all?
No, I don't think I think the utilities know that from their perspective, energy supply is just a pass-through, so they just go and buy what they need to buy to satisfy the customers, and whatever the market charges is what they pay.
Well, we participated in the NYSERDA community solar campaign, and Maya was leader on that, and many of us signed up, and none of us has yet been accepted.
I heard, yes.
So we're still waiting, it's been years now.
And in Kingston, it's been, I think when we started signing people up in middle of 2024, those projects are not coming online until the middle of this year at the earliest. So people are still going to wait. And they've been promised a 20% discount, and they're not seeing it. So they're not happy.
Right. Well, thank you for the summary
Not at
of
all.
CDG and CCA.
You're welcome.
Simon came and spoke to the town board here a couple of years ago about CCA, and the town board wasn't ready to proceed. So Maya and Rob have been working on solar mapping, learned the solar mapping tool, and have been thinking about the possibility of creating solar generation here in the town. And I guess that's how we all got together tonight, right? With
More or
Simon.
less. We also
Yeah.
connected at Sustainable Hudson.
Oh, okay,
Right, the climate summit, which was great.
great. Does anybody have any questions for Simon? Shall we move on?
I'm going to leave, and thank you all very much for having me.
There's a question.
Of course.
If you sign up for a community solar, roughly what percentage of your consumption is then solar energy versus just like, how does that work? Is it 100% and then do they buy RECs for the remainder, or how does that work?
Essentially what happens is the utility buys all the power from the developer and gets the RECs associated with that power purchase as a credit against its requirements that NYSERDA puts on it. So an electron is like a penny or a dollar. It's a fungible item, and it goes through the network, and where it comes from, the electron doesn't care whether it was from the solar panel or from a turbine spinning, whether a hydro turbine or a steam turbine from a gas plant. So only NYSERDA really tracks the credits through its NIGATS system. You're really helping by the more community solar there is in the utility service territory, the more is available to the utility to purchase, but the percentages are still pretty small. I think Central Hudson, which has something like 330,000 electric customers, has about 15,000 CDG customers, so the penetration's pretty low.
So if you want to purchase renewable power because you want to use carbon-free electricity, you're still better off purchasing directly from the renewable energy ESCO.
If you want to buy, yeah, you can do both though. You can buy the energy supply from 100% green from an ESCO, and you can do community solar as well. So there's no reason that you can't do both. And same with the CCA. Even if your municipality arranges through an ESCO for all the power to be bought from a green supply, you can still do community solar as well. The only reason you might not be able to is if you've got solar on your own roof on that account.
The town of Shandaken has numerous electric accounts. Some of them are with NYSEG, and some of them are with Delaware Solar.
On the energy supply portion,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So, and the town should be able to choose whatever it wants on all of its accounts.
Yes.
Your NYSEG is still supplying the delivery, and then Delaware River Solar or whoever will supply the
Yeah.
power.
Catherine?
When you say you're not eligible if you have solar panels on your house, that means if you're 100% supplied, like let's say you have a solar panel for your outdoor shower, does that negate you from?
It depends on whether, is it hooked into your electric system so that it reduces your consumption on your house?
So-
If
so-
it is, then yes,
Huh,
you wouldn't be able to sign up for community solar.
interesting.
You can still sign up for a CCA no matter what. So for the portion of your power that at night or whenever that the utility is supplying you, you can buy the electrons from an ESCO, which could be a green ESCO.
Mhm.
So that part of it, you
Mhm.
always have that opportunity, or through a CCA, but not if you've got solar that's attached to that particular meter. I've got 3 meters, 2 of them don't have solar, so I can use the community solar on the other 2 meters, which I do.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much, Simon.
You're
It's
welcome.
really
Another
nice to
question.
see you, and,
Yeah, another question, please. Simon, when you say 10% off your energy bill from community solar, or your electric bill, that is just the energy portion of the bill?
It's the whole bill,
The whole bill?
whole bill.
And you said you can do both community solar and?
Yes.
And how does that, where are your electrons coming from then, if you're doing both?
If you do both community solar and
What was the other one you said?
an ESCO,
Uh-huh,
or essentially the utility acts as an ESCO.
Right.
It buys the power from the market and then resells it to you at whatever it cost it to buy. So it's acting as its own ESCO, but you can buy energy from any ESCO. You could buy it from Green Mountain Power, which really sells you wind energy from Texas. But you could buy it from Delaware River Solar. You could buy it from any ESCO that's out there, and they'll tell you where they get their power from. So if they're getting all green power, they're likely paying more because RECs are very expensive right now. But you can do both community solar and have a green supplier for the supply portion. So you get a reduction on your bill because of the community solar, and you get the green, the energy supply portion is green because you're buying it green.
and, thank you. And what you said before about, as we started the meeting, sort of there seems to be like a waiting list for people to be able to get community solar. And I think I heard you say that that's related to there not being enough community solar projects underway.
And also because the state has put in place a community solar program called SSFA, Statewide Solar for All. And National Grid was the starting place for that. And what they did was they got a number of solar developers to sign up, and they essentially became, the National Grid became the marketing company for Solar for All, and said, well, through community solar, we'll give you a discount. Well, actually, the discount they give is $50 a year. And so it shouldn't, and most of us are paying more than $500 a year in our total electric bills. So therefore, $50 is not as good a discount, but the state is fixated on this statewide Solar for All, and they're rolling it out to all of the utility service territories. The advantage if you're a developer is that you don't have to pay any marketing costs, because once you've allocated your project to statewide Solar for All, they sign up the customers for you through the utility, and so you don't have to pay the 9 cents a watt that a typical marketing company charges you to sign up a customer.
Mhm. And what kind of guidance do you give a municipality like ours that has this waiting list of people to get on community solar? You know, should we be, for example, trying to find lots that would work and then work with our zoning board folks to make sure they understand that if a developer was to come along, this has already been looked at a little bit, these are some of the considerations that have already been considered? Like, how do we prepare, how do we entice and attract that kind of development?
I think that's an excellent way to do it, and I think that's why the solar mapping work that you guys did and that Oliver's done makes a lot of sense, because we're identifying local resources that make sense for local energy production, and then you can work with the developer to say, okay, now we know when you're going to bring this online, we want to be first in line. If we're doing what we can to help you build this thing, then we want to be first in line for getting the benefit for our residents of this project. So absolutely, I think it's a great idea.
And the last question, please, you and I had a conversation a little while back about like agrivoltaics, where you could take, you know, a field that maybe isn't hayed anymore, and now there's prickers and multiflora rose growing in it. You could kind of reclaim that back to being a field, and you could put solar panels in it, and then you could use animals to graze on it to keep the grass down and the prickers down.
So that's certainly one of the possibilities. Sheep grazing or cattle grazing. The one thing you don't want to graze is goats, because they eat the wires. But certainly sheep grazing and cattle grazing. We're looking in the south end of Ulster County at a couple of farms that are sheep, either for milk or for grazing. Cattle grazing under solar panels is popular in Massachusetts. I don't think any have been done in Ulster County yet, but they are looking at it. The other thing with agrivoltaics is you can grow crops in between the rows of solar. It works best when you have the tilting arrays, so that if you wanted to, you could focus on tilting them so that you gave the plants underneath the right amount of sunlight. But many people say they make more money from the energy production than they do from the crops growing under them. So they focus on getting the maximum energy, and the crops will just have to deal with whatever light they can get. But typically, in crop growing agrivoltaic arrays, you set them further apart, so you've got room enough for tractors and equipment to roll up and down the aisles between them, so you take up more space, land area, but you've got two things going on at once, and you're saving farmland. The Cornell Agricultural and Life Sciences is building a solar array over apples at their Highland Research Lab, and the Farm Hub in Hurley and Ulster is looking at potentially building them out over some of their pea crops right along Route 209. So it is happening around here. It's slow to take off, but it is happening.
And if you do the sheep or the cattle, do you have to space them further apart for that, or not necessarily?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
No, I'm
Thank you
sorry I
very
went on.
much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming, and
Thank you so much.
send our greetings to our friends and all on Wednesday night, and maybe we could all get together sometime. It might be interesting. Yeah. Good night. Thank you. Okay. So, did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? Thank you, Catherine. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. I just want to rip through some of these bullets here. Karen has a new email. I sent it out to everyone. I hope you've all noticed that. And Karen couldn't be here tonight. I got a communication from her. She's in Houston, and I'll get to that later. June 12th, there's a meeting in Phoenicia about the new bridge proposal over on Bridge Street. And that would be interesting to attend. And I want to take our flood flyer, our Shandaken Prepares flyers to that meeting. Tuesday, May 27th, the Housing Smart Committee reached out to us and invited us to come to their meeting. They're having CWC come, but it's a different speaker from CWC. It's here. It's either 6 or 6:30, I'm not sure. And it would be great if we could attend. They, you know, we're operating in a little bit of a vacuum here in Shandaken. We haven't ever met with the planning board, and when we have the housing committee, it'd be nice for us all to get together, and that's what they're trying to
I think
affect.
it's from 6 to 7.
6 to 7? Thank you.
On the 27th?
The 27th of May.
Next Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. Heidi Emmerich sent out something which I think I circulated about training risk and crisis communication for flood readiness. This is for members of the town board and let's see. If anyone is interested, I have the email here. I think I circulated it to you. And here's the invitation from Housing Smart. CWC is going to discuss the newest technologies and developments in waste management and to brainstorm ideas for how our town can build ADUs and other housing solutions using waste management tools that are affordable and have the least impact on our ecosystems. So it sounds interesting.
Do you know if that'll be recorded, Beth? I'm out of town that
Do you
night, but I would
record
love
for the
to.
housing committee? No.
No.
Okay. I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. May 28th is our next and the only scheduled event of this sort we've booked for this year. This is our logo up in the corner, but it doesn't really tell you that it's Shandaken, or if it did, it didn't print. It was too small or something. So, but we are sponsoring this. The CAC is in partnership with the Pine Hill Community Center. And it's going to be a DIY workshop, and they're going to give us recipes, and we're going to make stuff, right? So if anyone's interested, I'd appreciate circulating these flyers a little bit.
Is
you
there
know.
a digital version of that? that we
Yes,
can send
and
around?
I'll send it and put it on the Slack channel.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Who's the person you said I should contact at Upper?
Say that again?
Who's the person at Upper that I should contact?
Well, Angelina Brandt is the director, and Eva Barnett is the assistant educator.
Brand is B-R-A-N-D-T, Brand.
So, and there are also copies of our Shandaken Prepares flyer. We had 2,500 printed, and they're all ready to go out in the mail, and I just think I'll do it on Thursday. And so it'll be mailed, in the mail before the 1st of June. And it'll give them 2.5 weeks to figure this out. And Karen has been in touch with the diner. They're gonna provide food from their catering menu. It'll be mostly finger food, I think, but we left it up to them. We didn't go in and choose. They know what's popular and what's easy. So, thank you, Michael Chaffee. It's a very generous donation. This is our monthly meeting, and so it will be recorded. And we'll probably put the speakers up here and have us sit in the audience, and I don't know, we'll figure out something. But if everybody, I hope we'll all be able to come. I think it's gonna be interesting. I'll be very curious to see how many people show up.
I put it up on Facebook a couple days ago, and people seem really interested.
Great.
Yeah, there were a couple of people, all in real estate, actually, and someone reposted for their clients, and
Wow.
two realtors in the area that know a lot of people were very excited about it.
You know Maria.
So Amy
Giannis.
Rosen and
Maria Giannis.
Maria Giannis.
Great,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I didn't see that, but I'll look.
yeah,
Yeah.
I tagged you.
And I will repost it, share it. So this meeting that we're planning is to help people understand what they can do for emergency preparedness and property protection related to floods. And the speakers are gonna talk about resources that are available and assistance, financial assistance, et cetera. Then we thought we would have a second meeting about fire. And the fire meeting is a little bit different in that we don't really have a lot of very committed people to fire. I mean, everybody's opposed, everybody wants to be safe from fire, but I mean, there's no concerted effort like there is with the Shandaken watershed, Catskill watershed, and Cornell Cooperative Extension. So what I'm proposing is to have is a roundtable discussion of what resources are available and any tips for homeowner property management. And I have invited Cameron Sweeney, who's the town of Shandaken forest ranger, and he is trained in wildland fire, and they are part of a task force that Ulster County manages. And so in terms of wildland fire, they are the people who are called. They learn about it at their Paul Smiths and et cetera. Brian Perez, who works for DEC, is also trained in wildland fire and a member of the Big Indian Fire Company. So I invited Brian, and I invited Ryan Trapani. Ryan Trapani is the director of the Catskill Forest Association. And this is their newsletter. They often write about fire. In this Northeast Burning, Ryan wrote an article here. They also have a website, and they have podcasts, weekly radio show. There are two episodes on their podcast about fire. One is The Northeast is Becoming Fire Country, and that's by a woman named M.R. O'Connor, who wrote a book that I read about controlled burning. And the second one is called Forest Fires in the Catskills with Eric Horn. And Eric Horn is also a forest ranger, and he talks about the Peekamoose fire, which occurred, you're probably more familiar with that than we are, because it was quite close to you. He talks about that approximately 20 minutes into this podcast. And these podcasts are kind of rambling, so you might want to, go to the part where they're really talking about the fire. So that's why I put 20 minutes in, and we'll see. Good luck. So I think it'll be more of a roundtable discussion. We're not gonna offer food. It's kind of preliminary. I hope to get all the fire companies involved, and, I think there'll just be a lot of information sharing.
When will that one be?
That will be for our July meeting,
Great. Yep.
okay?
Are you inviting the fire department chiefs of the various hamlets?
I certainly will, yeah. Yeah.
Hey Beth.
Yes,
I mean, I know I feel like a broken record about this, but having had experience in LA, and my best friend just lost her house in the Altadena fire, I'm very savvy on what's been happening in California, and there's been such a big push in Los Angeles to incorporate indigenous fire management.
yes,
So I kind of hit a dead end with like the Evans
Yes.
and the Mary Lou's of the world, but I wonder if there's anybody that could speak to the forever wild practices and maybe kind of examining them to see if it's not just tinder that is ripe for the burning?
Well, until we locate such a person, it's tough. There's a website called Firewise.
Yeah, I looked at it, it's very interesting.
Yes, it's a very interesting website. So check that out. There might be something there. There is a group in Ulster County that are interested in this, but I haven't been able to get the contact name. And I think for this meeting, you know, we'll stick with our local.
And we can ask some of those folks that are coming to this meeting, like Brian Perez and others, kind of, you know, what contacts they have that
Yeah.
would know that.
Yeah.
Because the Forever Wild portion of the Catskills is so big compared to the property we can maintain.
Yeah.
It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, we're, I think 5 inches over our normal rainfall this year.
Yeah, but it's coming like in big lumps,
I
and then there's
know,
huge
I
dry
know.
spells, and
I know,
it's
but
amazing. Yeah,
it's
We've
still,
lost some time, but.
yeah.
well, so then there will, possibly will be a third meeting, but I haven't, with Anna from Cornell Cooperative Extension, and that is really focused on individual households, how to prepare your household, what to do with your important papers, how to collect all the information that you might need if you do have to leave, you know. And actually, the town of Olive did one of those workshops, which I attended a few years ago. I think I've told you about it. So, that's what we're planning for our public events. And then, we'll hear about the compost. Oh, by the way, it's National Waste and Recycling Handlers Week.
It's coming up, it's not yet.
Oh, it's not this week? Oh, okay.
Soon.
So that's your week, Nicole.
Yes, yes, yes. I was just looking up for the fire talk and related to what Maya was just talking about. There's someone named Justin Wexler. Have you guys heard of him? I think he does
have
Wild
heard of him.
Hudson. And they have done some events around prescribed fire for food, medicines, and other essential natural resources to kind of benefit those plant populations. But they also say that it also reduces the risk of wildfires that could threaten surrounding human communities. I wonder if they could maybe we could talk to them about their knowledge on that and see if they
Sure.
could.
He did that coffee
Sure.
talk, didn't he? Justin Wexler?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does a lot of events, so
Okay.
maybe that
Do
could
you
be
want to
good.
contact him and see
Sure.
if he's available?
Yes.
Okay, but I think I would really like to do it outside the first event, as a follow-up to the
Sure.
first event, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the first fire roundtable.
You think the first one should just be?
I think
kind
it should be more local, stick
Okay.
with the, you know, who's here on the ground and whose job is what.
Yeah, maybe this could be in the fall or something. I don't know
Yeah.
why, fall, fire kind
Yeah.
of seems to go together.
Right.
Okay. Great.
So, we have a big transition here in the compost world. Tell us about it.
Yes, so the torch has been passed to me from James Amanetta, who spearheaded this amazing residential compost program. So my first pickup was March 29th. It's going really well. We've made a couple of small changes just to make sure that it goes well on my property as far as attracting bears and stuff. So we're not doing meat, fish, and chicken anymore. New signs have been up. Everybody's been really cooperative. They all love the program. We have so far collected about 250 gallons of scraps since March 29th. James was collecting about 1.5 tubs. Each one is about 20 gallons, but I've had anywhere from 60 gallons in a week. I mean, sometimes I'm going multiple times in a week to pick up. And it's a little erratic, like some weeks there's nothing, and some weeks there's like 3 huge tubs full when I get there, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna move all this. But Joe, who mans the recycling center, has been really helpful to us. He's been putting lids on when they're halfway full so I can move them.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. He's amazing. And we had some good things happened just this week. So we have 4 new tubs that the town bought us, which have great seals on them to keep the smells in, and it also helps us just have a better rotation when we do have really busy weeks. We've got enough now. James actually gave me 4 giant tubs that I probably would only use to store if I had like major overflow, because I will not be able to move them if they are full. James also let us know that the composter that I have at my house that he brought over, it was actually his composter. And we have an additional composter, the town composter that our grant purchased, ready to be assembled if we need it.
Which he never used.
He never used it, so he has
He was
donated
using
his to the
own
project.
composter.
Yeah, same exact one. So now we have an additional one, which makes me feel a little better, just because it has been pretty popular. So now I won't have too much overflow.
I think it's grown.
It seems like it's grown, yeah, and then there have been some people that didn't even know about it that recently, were, you know, we had posted for the compost week, and they were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, so it might pick up a little bit more. We also have, we've done, this started at the farmer's market, and then the past couple of seasons, we haven't done it there, but I was speaking to Sophie about possibly doing it for their vendors. So she has one of the giant tubs I brought down yesterday, and she decided actually not to do it, I think because it was windy and rainy, and she just felt like, let's just skip this week. So she'll be, well, we're figuring out a system where she'll be dropping it off at my house, and we'll see if it works, or if it's too much, too fast, so we'll see. But overall, it's going great,
Thank you.
and, yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit, like, what the setup is at your house?
Sure, and it's just, so I have the Jora, which is a tumbler. I have one of my own bins, which is an aero bin. It is a plastic bin. It's one that you don't have to turn. It has like a lung inside of it. It works really well. It's extremely hot. They're all hot composters. The Jora has to be rotated, but it's incredible. I have a thermometer. It's always active. Yeah, and then just a water setup in case they get dry, and lots of ammonia around to keep the bears away from it. We have had a few visitors, but they seem completely freaked out by the fact that it turns, and so as soon as they notice that, they walk away, which is great. Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Have you had any problems with the jumping worms?
You know, no, not in the compost. No, so both of these units, the Jora is actually on a stand, so it doesn't sit on the ground, which is fabulous, especially for pests and rats and things like that. Nothing can get in there, no mice or anything. The aero bin, I have all wire and everything, and it's got a plastic bottom, so it doesn't actually touch the ground, that one. Then I have another one that I might set up that does touch the ground, but the jumping worms on my property, I have seen less and less over the past couple of years, and I don't know if that's because of the extremely hot drought summers that maybe have kind of killed some of them off. Because they do best in like moist mulch, you know, more humid environments, so, yeah.
We had an adolescent bear turn our compost.
Oh, thank you very
And
much,
we
yeah.
had to let it go. I also, at one point, we have like 2 composters, one's on a stand and one you would roll, and nobody can get into that.
Yeah, yeah.
But, at one point I was looking at videos, there's, do your own composters made out of these plastic barrels, and they look really easy to make and very sturdy and easy to roll,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, there's so many different systems out there. There's this one, Johnson Sue, that James and I have like talked about a lot, and yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but yeah, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Karen says, the comprehensive plan, she's in Houston visiting her family there. She says, the Phoenicia Diner's on board providing food for our June meeting. They'll be providing an assortment of sandwiches for 50 people. We will need tables to set up. I asked if they have a water dispenser that can be loaned to us for water or another beverage. And she's gonna pick up the food a little before 5 and bring it here. And there's one table over there behind those chairs, and I'll see if the town has more than one table. About the comprehensive plan, we are in the process of revising our comprehensive plan with consultants. And she says, I believe members who help with the questionnaire are working with their assigned topics to help the consultants develop each area. Sophie and I are working on the topic of food and nutrition and how it relates to the comprehensive plan. I also attended the HVRC Comprehensive Planning webinar on May 8th. The focus, as you know, was how to incorporate sustainability elements into the comprehensive planning process and how to achieve points. I think we should have a meeting to follow up on the webinar, and then with our PFP, pattern for progress consultants to see and review the sustainability elements. Yes, I think you also attended that webinar, didn't you, with, yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else? No. It was very detailed and quite technical. So this is something that we're gonna need to spend a little time looking at. It was recorded, so we can all review it. So the postcards are all done and ready to be mailed, and I think I'll mail them on Thursday. They're going to the entire town. And these are what's left over for us to put around town and post here and there, and I don't know, try to help promote this meeting so that people will come. Solar mapping, you want, Community Climate Action Plan, Maya. I think it's time for us to have another work
meeting,
session.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, my full-time job got really crazy the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, but I'd like to have another work session, because I felt like we got like half of it done.
Yeah,
The CAC is for us to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in various categories, so like buildings, transportation, natural resources, education. And so it's a planning document that we got halfway through at Beth's house. I'd like to do another one in, ideally, like middle to end of June. And then once we have that, I think I can start mapping out a first draft.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's think about doing it after the June 16th meeting, if that's okay? You know, between then and the end of
It'll
June.
have to be, yes, in
The-
Kenya.
Community Climate Action Plan. Solar mapping, well, I think we've talked about that tonight.
Sure, but I can give a quick update.
Okay.
As we learned in our solar mapping work with the Central Hudson solar mapping tool, there are different overlays. One of the overlays was showing us the distribution system. That's the wires that connect all of our neighborhoods together. And we found out that a lot of the distribution system needs to be upgraded in order to be able to handle like a community solar farm. What that would entail is then going to the utility and saying, hey, would you, update the wires in this area? That has the impact on raising the cost of the project itself. So what might have been a financially viable project, when you add in what the interconnection expense is gonna be to the utility, it can kill the finances for the project. One of the ways we can get around that is by getting a hold of the distribution system implementation plan. So each of the utilities, NYSEG being ours, has a person and a team that's responsible for creating and updating every 2 years this distribution system implementation plan. I've figured out who the person is at NYSEG with the help of somebody at Avangrid, who's the parent company. And I've gotten the plan, I've taken a look at it. It doesn't actually get down to like individual circuits, like the Oliveria Road circuit or another circuit. But that is what's underneath all of this. And to the extent that we have another meeting or two ourselves, start identifying where do we think are good spots for community solar, we can then feed that back and, kind of be on the input end of the utility so they can include it in their planning process. And hopefully at some point then, when somebody goes to develop that piece, the utility's already thought about it, they've already planned to spend money there, and it makes the economics for the project better in the long term. But it's a multi-year play.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah.
Catherine? NRI, no news.
Not as far as I know.
No. And pollinator pathway, dark sky?
I'm trying to recruit a neighbor of mine into the dark sky. I'm trying to recruit a neighbor of mine to come and assist with the dark sky process of contacting local businesses and possibly then homeowners would be after that. But pollinator pathway, I was hoping to get together with Nicole and go look at the spot down in Phoenicia. We never got to do that, but hopefully we'll get to go look at that again. I have been doing some planting on those buyout properties near me, and I have to come to the next parks meeting to discuss what's going on in Glenbrook specifically, but there are some other locations, like we were talking about, not possibly doing something at the Simpson Pocket Park in Phoenicia, and Nicole had suggested it, and I said I'd be interested, and we just need to get together and talk to you.
Yeah,
We love that.
yeah.
Carol?
Can I ask just as a guest,
Yeah.
what, about the natural resource inventory?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this.
Oh, well, a natural resource inventory
Yeah.
is done by the Town of Olive has one on their website. They did one, Woodstock did one. It's a priority item for a climate-smart community. Which means, we've been talking about it, and we applied for a grant, and we're waiting to hear the results of that. If we get the grant, we will hire a consultant and create a website. And this is multi-layered too, and it's very useful for planning purposes. The town of Gardner has one that is my model for this. So check out the town of Gardner Natural Resource Inventory website. I don't know if we're gonna achieve this because we don't have the grant yet, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I'd like to achieve.
That's what I needed, thank you. That's what I needed to know.
Okay. Well, something came up at the last meeting about showing a film about plastics and the need to abandon them, but Karen hasn't pursued that yet, so she's not, she said, I guess it was a different email, she's gonna look into it, but see if Beyond Plastics will come to a meeting and talk to us, or maybe show a film, although,
At the Playhouse or something?
well, it's a possibility, but they showed a fascinating film last Friday night called, or Saturday night, called Farming While Black. You were there, right? Yeah.
I wasn't there,
Oh.
but I watched it separately.
Oh, it's a wonderful film, just inspiring.
She's an amazing woman.
Yes, she's an amazing woman. Leah Penniman from Soul Fire Farm in Grafton, New York. And, yeah, it was powerful. Anyway, that was they had a pretty good audience. I was pleased to see. But, the farmer's market has a big mailing list, and I'm not sure. It was a wonderful film, beautiful.
The comms person for Beyond Plastics, she lives somewhere close by. She's not in Vermont. She's somewhere.
Oh, no, she's in New Paltz.
Eve.
Judith Inc.?
No,
Oh.
the comms person
Oh,
for
the comms
Beyond
person.
Plastics. She's somewhere nearby.
Oh, is she?
She's in the neighborhood. Her name's Eve.
Okay. If you find out more, let Karen know, okay? Maybe we can schedule something with her. So, I I just wanted to say that, you know, if anybody has things they want, thank you for inviting Simon. If anybody has things they want to add to the agenda ever, just let me know. You know, I'm grateful to you for your advice and suggestions.
I was thinking if we end up trying this film at the Playhouse, and if it's successful, maybe we could do like a CAC film series. I don't know how, we'd have to get the rights, and I don't know.
Well,
if we
Maya's
have-
the filmmaker on our
Oh,
committee.
Oh, amazing. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and we showed Maya's films
Oh,
last year on Earth Day at the Phoenicia Playhouse.
oh, okay, great.
Some of them.
Yeah.
It was such an
3 or
enjoyable
4 of them.
experience to be there for the one on Friday night, and I was just sitting there thinking it would be really cool to be able to bring awareness to all different topics
Yeah,
for
it
the,
would.
for the CAC.
I have a question in terms of, are you finished? I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
I was at a planning board workshop last week, and the workshop had a projector, and they were using that screen, and so people could kind of see what was being projected. Is that something that would be available for our use? Does anybody know kind of where that projector comes from, or do we have such a thing?
Do you know Leanne?
Right there, okay. Because we could at an upcoming meeting, we could do a solar mapping workshop and say, well, these are the areas we've looked at, and, kind of collaborate for a
Yeah.
half hour or
That's a
whatever
good idea.
on that.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
I think they're gonna probably need a projector for our June 16th meeting, and I hope they're bringing their own, because my experience is that when you have a laptop and a projector, it's best if they already know each other.
Absolutely. Arrive early.
Yeah. All right, if that's, hope to see some of you on Wednesday, May 28th, at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3 at the Pine Hill Community Center. And otherwise, June 16th.
Oh, are we gonna take a month off? Like, are we gonna take August off?
Are we gonna what?
We got a meeting, a summer meeting?
I don't know.
Okay.
But let's discuss it at our next
Sure.
meeting.
Yep, I support it. Thank you.
You discussed taking August off. Well, I'm always out of town in August, so.
Yeah. We did it one year and not another year, but I think let's talk about it.
Yeah, last year I think I came back for it or something. Anyway, it would be more difficult this year because it's my sister's 80th birthday, so,
Gotta go.
yeah. I think I'm giving the party. All right, could I hear
Good
a
night.
motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much.